In this video, I'll show you how to use a PORTER-CABLE door hinge template to mortise the recesses for the hinges on a door into a door frame. I like this PORTER-CABLE door hinge template because it can do both the door side and the frame side. For your hinges, it's adjustable to a wide variety of different hinge types and sizes as well. For my project, I already have a door with hinges mounted, but even though I'm reusing these doors, I do need to replace the frame for the doors. So I have my pieces here, they're already stained, and I'm going to lay out the hinges, use this kit and my router to take out the mortise, and then install these doors. So I'll show you how to do the mortise on this side. There's a lot of videos out on the internet that show you how to mortise the joints on the door. A lot of equipment out there that you can use for that. Not a lot of things that work for the door frames themselves. So I figured I'd make this video to show how you can do that. I'll include a link in the description of this video to where you can buy this exact same kit as well. I've laid out the door and the door frame on some sawhorses, and now I'm going to lay out the locations of all my door hinges. To do that, since I already have the door here that has the locations on it, I'm going to use this piece here. It's already cut to length. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to have a 5/16 gap. You want between 1/2 inch and 3/4 between the bottom of the door and the floor, which in this case is also the bottom of my door frame. To do that, I'm going to use a square, and I'll come out to about 5/8 here against the door. And I'll check at the other end to make sure I have the gap I want there. I'm going to go with about a 3/16 gap at the top. Next, I'm going to mark the hinge locations. To do that, again, I'm going to use my square, and I'm going to mark from the bottom of the hinges. There's no cap on the hinge pin at this end. There's a cap on the other side. So if I mark from the top, I'll actually end up with my mark in the wrong spot. So I'm just going to slide my square in here, up against the hinge, and mark out a line on the door. I'm going to repeat that for the other hinges. To prevent any confusion, I'm going to go ahead and mark an X where the hinge is to make sure I mortise the right side of the line. I'm going to go ahead and open up the kit. Again, there's a link in the description of this video to where you can purchase this exact same kit. The kit comes with this router bit that you use inside the guide to make the mortise with a protective cover. And it comes with some nails and some pegs. The nails are for attaching this to the door frame, and these pegs are for putting it together. It also comes with instructions. There's some here. There's also some instructions on the back that explain how it works. Next thing you want to do is take your template and put it on the bottom of the router with the bit installed. You then want to put the hinge on top of the template and make sure that that hinge height and this router bit are set to the same depth. You adjust your router till you get the right depth. That's how you're going to make sure that when you flip everything over, you get your mortises to the right depth. You also need to set up your hinge template to the right size hinge and the shape that you have on the hinge corners. So mine is right now set up for round hinges and a 3.5 inch hinge, which this is. You'll notice there's a little bit of gap in here. That's good, you want that. The bearing on the router bit is a larger diameter than the cutting head. So the bearing's going to ride around on the edge of the template, and it's going to cut just a little bit in from the edge of the template as it goes around. So that's already calculated in here. You don't need to account for it separately. If you have square hinges, the way you adjust this is you take this out completely. You always move them towards the middle. You never try and push them back. Take this one out completely. This one gets turned and put in over here. It says insert. There's little gaps here. The little pegs on the edge of these go in. Slide it forward. Then you always slide towards the center to the width of your hinge, and then you can pull it out. If you go too far, take it out and start over again. So let me get this set up for my hinge. Go in through the insert line. I have my rounded edges over here. And set this up for a 3.5 inch hinge. Three-and-a-half-inch hinge. Now over here, I mark the bottom of my hinges. So I need to make sure I have a mark in the center. I've already put the mark on, but to do that, I'll just show you how I did that. I took my square, put it at the edge of the line that's the bottom of the hinge, measure up half the height or the length of the hinge, so 1 3/4 inches. I'm going to come up to 1 3/4 inches. Since this is a 3.5 inch, that's now the center line of my hinge. And that's what I'm going to lay out the template for, these center lines here. The other adjustment you need to make are the pegs that come with this. They're removable. These plastic pegs, you're going to set them up for the thickness of your door. So I have an 1 3/8 door, put it in, and then you twist it and it locks into place, one on each side. They'll stick through the bottom of the template, and that's going to be the edge guide to make sure that you're the right distance off the edge of your door frame. Once you have this set up, line up the center mark here with your center mark on your hinge. And they give you 2 double-headed nails that go in the little small holes here. And move this here, get everything lined up, and nail it in place. Next, I'm going to get my safety glasses and my ear protection and go ahead and route this out. Just checking against the hinge and the center hole. Everything looks good. When I set my depth, I forgot to lock it in place. It's not a big problem. What I'm going to do, I'm just going to take 2 of the hinges, put them underneath, and then I'm going to readjust the router depth until it comes down and hits the wood. So if I go any further, it starts to lift the router up. That'll give me the right depth. Remember to lock it in place this time. Take the hinges out. And now I've got my depth. So I'm going to come into the middle and then circle around in a clockwise direction. Just going to take it and look at it, make sure the hinge depth looks good. Go ahead and route the rest of this out. I've got my hinge template in. Hinges fit perfectly. You can see the small gaps I talked about here between the template and where it's routed out, just like we wanted. If I drop my hinge in, it fits in perfectly. So now I'm just going to go off and repeat this. Now that I have the board all mortised, I'm going to go ahead and test fit everything to make sure it's how I want it. So I've got the hinges on the door in all 3 locations. Got the board lined up. I'm just gonna go ahead and rotate these up, make sure they fit in all of the pockets at the same time. And it looks like I'm good. Everything fits in there. So this will be the view from the inside. I'll put the strip of wood here that the door stops against. And I'm ready to go install. I've got the right gaps at the top and the bottom. Everything looks good. If you have any questions, you can ask them in the comments. Don't forget to give this video a like and also subscribe to my channel for more helpful tips. Thanks.